There's coffee in Danish here for enjoy your cake. Steve. I'd also like to introduce my mom's cousin, Steve Cove. I'd like to say a few words.
Your cousin too.
And my cousin, right, exactly. and our quasi-professional photographer.
Thank you. I am here to honor my aunt, who I was very close to. She went by the name of Yiddish name. Her Yiddish name was Malchi. Even though my wife is also a Malka. My wife is Malki. She's sorry she couldn't be here. However, we have another grandchild as of 4 o'clock this morning. Excuse me. Eleanor asked me to talk about some recollections that I had growing up. We lived basically in the same house. My aunt, my grandmother, my uncle, Eleanor, and my cousin Bobby lived upstairs in a 2-family house. And my family, my brother Howie, my mother and my father, lived downstairs here on East 7th Street. So growing up, we had a very close relationship, and we basically dropped in on each other at will, and we were one big close family. Driving here, I just thought about how the family, specifically my aunt, just persevered and honored people, loved people, always was happy, always having a tune. When I go upstairs, I'd always hear her singing. And it was just such a pleasure. And her cooking was great. So I was known as the kokolef, which means that not somebody that stirs up a pot for like negative things, but I would go into the pots and see what are you cooking, and I would kind of steal a little bit. And I remember my grandmother Gates says, get away, stay out of the pots, over and over again. But I was thinking about the plight, and again, the perseverance, the pride that I wish upon my new little cousin, Malka. Even though she would not know my aunt, I'm hoping that she takes on the attributes and the qualities of my aunt. But just think about the plight of people who survived the war, came to this country, didn't have a place to live, didn't speak the language, really couldn't find a place. If you were a landlord, would you hire somebody that wasn't employed? So, Baruch Hashem, my grandmother, Gitza, had a brother who was well-to-do, came over before the war, and had a house that he sold to my grandmother just so they had a place to live in. So for me, that's a bracha, because I don't think that I would have been as close to my aunt had I not been able to have the opportunity to live under the same roof as my aunt. In growing up, again, I just remember sharing Pesach together. Pesach is coming up. Sharing holidays together. Being able to share time with Eleanor, share time with my cousin Bobby, play in the streets of Brooklyn. I tell my son Ethan, who unfortunately couldn't make it today, that there was a richness growing up in Brooklyn, that you can kind of just roll out of bed and be in the street with your friends. And you just don't have that in the suburbs. It's just, unfortunately, something that my son and unfortunately my niece and nephew can't experience growing up in the suburbs. I'm sorry?
It was Brooklyn anymore, can
It changed everything. You know what changed? I'll tell you what changed the whole thing. Air conditioning changed the whole thing. You know, really. And television. And television. Even though I don't know if that television, because they got too many lousy shows on it. But anyways. So the recollections, the happy times that I have with my aunt, I'm hoping that we all, especially our new Malka, finds happiness, enjoys happiness, grows up with a sense of Torah values, doing mitzvahs, and of course, chuppah. And we should all be here to see her under the chuppah. And Mirz Hashem, great grandchildren. You know? So that said, all the best. Mazel tov.
Oh, great, that's right. That purple bag. Now we're all-